YouTube, with the Milwaukee Bucks down 3-1 last night against the Indiana Pacers at home, without their best two players, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, they end up winning that game and now have a chance to save their season again in Game 6 and eventually go to a Game 7 and get the victory over the Indiana Pacers and advance to the second round. I want to ask the question that no one's asking right now. How funny would it be if Doc Rivers, with all of the 3-1 blown leads he's had, and believe me, I've seen a fair share of Doc Rivers blown leads, being a Philadelphia 76ers fan myself, if a Doc Rivers led team, after all the slander we gave him this season, comes back from a 3-1 deficit in this series and just beats the bad coach allegations, we have a front row seat to maybe the greatest thing in comedy history. And that is, what if Doc Rivers overcomes a 3-1 lead himself, having been on the other end of it so many times, and deservedly so, getting so much flack from all the fans? This could be the funniest thing I've ever seen, folks. Let's talk about it. Maybe this is Doc Rivers' master plan all along, to, like, you know, get out of these bad situations in Philly with the James Harden thing, and, you know, LA with the team kind of mutinying over there, all to lead up to this, you know, get Damian Lillard over to the Bucks, and that's who he really wanted to coach all along, and that's why he blew all those leads and got fired so many times, took a contract at ESPN just to get Adrian Griffin fired and all that, so he could come back and prove everyone wrong in this series. That would be, you know, the greatest heist of all time. The big question for me is, like, if Damian Lillard and Giannis start to play in this series, like if Giannis comes back in Game 6, I'm not sure the Bucks wouldn't be favored in this series. You know, they got to save their season on the road in Indiana, which is a really tough place to play. Indiana fans are amazing, but I will say, man, Indiana did not handle their business last night without the Bucks' best two players. I thought for sure the Bucks season was over. I'm like, what are you guys doing resting these guys? You know, I know Giannis is injured, I know Dame is injured, right? Like, technically, but I'm not questioning their integrity or effort or anything like that. I would never do that because those guys are dogs, but I was questioning more of like the front office standpoint, and like, you know, are they just like selling the season? Are they punting the season away and, like, you know, getting another year, an off season under their belt with this Doc Rivers system? Is that what they're trying to do? Turns out no, because they win this game pretty handedly. I gotta say, I watched the full game and it never really felt like Indiana had control of it. Bucks just, you know, looked like the better team without their best two players, which is insane. Kris Middleton is, I gotta say, officially back, folks. Kris Middleton is averaging 27 points per game in this series, almost 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Like, dude is just hooping. He looks like maybe even better than he ever was. I mean, shooting really efficient from the field as well. 50% from the field, 37 from 3 on 5 attempts, 89% from the line. Like, he was just like on a mission, man. And I got to give a lot of props to Kris Middleton, because I was one of those people who thought after the knee injury, like, he was never going to be the same. You know, Kris Middleton struggled, you know, last year and this season really to stay on the floor for one. And when he did get on the floor, he just didn't look like himself, you know, that we were the guy that we were used to, guy that could give you an efficient 25 and 5 and just be that really rock solid number 2 option for Giannis. He just didn't look like that was ever going to be the case again. So big props to Kris Middleton, man. He is back in action and better than ever, it looks like. So you gotta, you know, give a round of applause for Kris Middleton. Silent round of applause, because I don't want you guys to hear the microphone. But either way, man, I think if Dame and Giannis play the rest of this series, even if just Dame plays, I think the Milwaukee Bucks have as good a chance as the Pacers to win this series, especially if Giannis plays. I mean, you know, Giannis has this calf injury, right? And was a game time decision last night. So it looks like he's moving in the right direction in his, you know, rehab recovery process. And Dame missed the game last night with an Achilles injury. But how serious these injuries are, I actually don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know down in the comments, because hopefully they're not too serious. And now with a chance to, you know, swing the series back to even playing field at tied 3-3 going into a Game 7 at home, you'd think if these guys are like even 80% ready to play, you're throwing them out there if you're Doc Rivers. So like I said, this could be this, you know, we have a chance to see one of the greatest comedy acts of all time, and that is Doc Rivers overcoming the very problem he creates often in the league, and that is overcoming a 3-1 series. Or maybe it's like a thing where he just like has no, like, there's no correlation. Like, he has all the ability to like overcome a 3-1 lead as a coach. Like, that's his perfect skill set. But like when it comes to like holding a lead, he's like the worst ever. Maybe that's what it is. Like, maybe the two things are just totally unrelated. I don't know. But it's insane to me that this is even possible, because like I said last night, going into that game, I was like, there's no way the Bucks are winning this game. I thought for sure, you know, with their best two players out, I was like, I don't know what this is about. You know, are they just punting the season? But they came out there and looked really, really, really good. So the Bucks have a lot of depth, you know, and that's the thing. Like, if everyone's at their best and the offense and defense are clicking, the defense has been an issue for the Bucks this year somehow, even though they have probably the best defensive front court in the NBA. Like, when they're clicking, and like, just look at their roster, you know, they have everything they need other than maybe a little bit of perimeter defense issues. But I just personally think the Bucks are, you know, poised to make a finals run and compete with a team like the Celtics at their best. You know, if everything goes well for them and Doc Rivers has these guys in peak form, which is, you know, has always been the issue. But if this does happen, I think there's no ceiling to what the Bucks can't do at their best. So if Giannis is healthy and Dame is is healthy, I like this, Bucks team coming out of the first round. And I gotta say, I predicted the Indiana Pacers to come out of this first round in my playoff predictions video. Maybe you guys check that out if you guys haven't already. I haven't been wrong on any of them yet. It actually looks like I might have a full perfect first round bracket in that video, so I feel pretty good about that. And I had the Pacers coming. I foresaw the Pacers coming out of this series with a W because I really think the Pacers were slept on going into the playoffs. Not a lot of people took them seriously, and a prestigious team like the Bucks, who have won a championship in recent years, have one of the top 3 players in the world in Giannis. And even though they haven't been playing their best this year, they've been kind of a mess towards the end of the season and all the Doc Rivers stuff. I still thought they would win if Giannis didn't sustain that awful injury, because that really is going to be the whole key to this playoff run for them. But I do think, like I said, if Giannis is able to return for game 6 and game 7 at anywhere near 100%, like 80% even, like what we're seeing with Joel Embiid, maybe, I like the Bucks to win this series, man, because now they have game 7 at home. So Bucks just got to survive game 6. The Pacers, I would assume Rick Carlisle and Halliburton and Pascal Siakam, who's been playing awesome playoff basketball right now, I would assume the Pacers going to be ready to go, playing their best in game 6. And hopefully that's the case, because blowing a 3-1 lead to Doc Rivers might be the worst look of all time for Rick Carlisle. That might make Rick Carlisle worse than Doc Rivers ever has, because it's like, this is the guy who blows 3-1 leads all the time himself in Doc Rivers, and now you just gave up a 3-1 lead to him. That's like the worst look ever. So it's all going to come down to health, but I just think this would, we have a front row seat to maybe the funniest thing in NBA history, and it's one of those things where the entirety of the NBA community would come together to meme on this harder than anything I've ever seen if Doc Rivers were to somehow pull off this massive heist, and the memes would be out of control. Twitter would be awesome. If you're a Bucks fan, hopefully you guys can come out of this on top and have that comedy become a reality, because wow, man, this is potentially the funniest thing I have ever seen. So I'm kind of hoping it's slightly that this does happen, just because, like I said, the comedy of it all, but also I would feel really, really bad for the Pacers, and that would be a really bad look on them if they blew this series to that particular incident where Doc Rivers comes back. So it's all going to come down to Giannis and Dame's health, and if those guys can be ready to go for game 6 and game 7, especially game 6, they're going to need that at a hostile Indiana crowd where those fans are amazing and they get loud. So tough place to play, man. Hopefully these guys can get healthy and we get the best outcome possible with some of the best basketball that could be played out of both teams, and just see who's the better team, right? So that's it for this video, man. I just wanted to talk about this. Make sure you guys drop a like. I thought it would be a really, really funny concept that I don't really see around the league just yet. So if the Pacers blow this next game, then I think you're going to see a lot of these types of discussions of how funny this would be. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys drop a like if you did. It really helps out the channel, helps new people find the video, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be doing everyday uploads, and also maybe even 2 a day sometimes. So make sure you guys stick around for that. Playoff updates, the NBA is just a drama-filled action reality TV show. So we're always going to be covering the best stuff that I can find across the playoffs, and the playoffs are the best time of year to do it. So make sure you guys subscribe. Trying to grow every single day. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic rest of your day today. Hopefully your favorite team wins their next game, and hopefully your favorite team is the Pacers, because that would be the worst. You guys would get memed on harder than my Sixers are right now if everything goes the way I said in this video. So the Pacers really need a dub here, and hopefully they get it for their fans' sake, because that would be, I would hate to be a Pacers fan, maybe even more than a Sixers fan at that point. So make sure you guys try to have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. This is your boy DeHave, and as always, peace.